another guest who's another A-team member.
You know my name?
I wanted to highlight. His name is Judson. I'm going to take a shot. Weinsheimer.
So technically the H is silent for some reason. So Weinsheimer.
Weinsheimer.
Look, I don't know. I didn't make it up. I'm just living with it.
So Judson, you're from ePlus? Is that accurate?
Yes, ePlus Technologies. We are a VAR partner integrator, headquartered out of Northern Virginia.
Yep.
But we're basically nationwide with a presence in England and some parts out east as well. So
nice. So I had on the list today to talk to you about storage as a service.
Yes.
Is that something that you still really are feeling passionate about?
So I think it's passionate's a good word.
Yeah.
But it's really about balancing the use case. Some people are very passionate and they go out and push something that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But for a lot of customers, storage as a service does make a lot of sense, right? And so when the environment and the use case lines up, it's very easy to be passionate for that kind of sort of service and scalability and flexibility that SaaS can bring.
So we had Glenn and David, your colleagues and peers in the A-team, on earlier discussing Equinix Metal and how David's company has taken advantage of that. How would you define storage as a service just in general, and what's some of the things that people should be on the lookout for, any gotchas or something when they're considering making the shift from that traditional 3-year refresh to a more pay-as-you-go model?
So from my perspective as a partner, a lot of what we do is ensuring success of a customer, right? With NetApp and ONTAP, it's fantastic because you have so many knobs that you can turn,
right?
And you have all these different performance levels you can get out of the array and out of the hardware. So it's very easy to over-architect a SaaS solution via Keystone, right? If I look at the portfolio of what ONTAP can run on, it can run the smallest workload to the fastest workload. So it's easy to come in and sort of micromanage all these different service levels. Part of what we do is try and look at customer's environment and say, hey, can we sort of collapse this sort of add simplicity to the solution and say, okay, instead of having 4 service levels, can we go down to 2? Right, because it's going to be a lot easier for the customer to manage that ecosystem and better understand where their data is going when they don't have to nitpick it. So when you look at Keystone and storage as a service, part of the value there is the ease of execution of that. It's saying, hey, I need X TIBs for X workload, give it to me, done, right? I don't have to worry about it. And so the less concern and over death by analysis, right? The more that we can eliminate from the process, the easier it is for a customer to go out and execute on that.
Well, you said evaluate. Walk me through ePlus's sort of motions when it comes to storage as a service. Like, how do you go walk into a customer and make a determination of whether or not to suggest maybe storage as a service is right for them?
So from an initial get-go perspective, it's really about understanding the customer's environment, right? It's easy for me as an engineer to go in and be like, oh, you want this box or you want this box, right? But if I don't have a keen understanding of where the customer is now and where they're going in the future, and I'll get back to that in a second, it's really hard to sort of position the right kind of solution. A lot of customers don't know where they're going, right? They have a certain amount of data, and their data between year 2, year 3, year 4, and then even further out is pure conjecture at this point, right? They might have an application that comes out. They might have a new workload. There's a lot of talk today about AI, right? If they decide to get an AI, they're going to have these massive data sets that they got to build, and so it's really hard to balance that. So the first thing is customer, what's your growth look like, right? Is it something where I'm going to be stable over the next couple years? Well, then, hey, a CapEx purchase might just be the easiest way, right? Because you don't have to worry about it. But if they are growing, if it is very dynamic, if it is multi-locational, something like storage as a service where you're actually building that out across, flexible service levels and consumption makes a lot more sense.
I always look at it, I think the last time I talked with a very, very large customer and we did a full-day EBC with them, it was my turn to get up and speak, and they had gotten the dog and pony show. They had seen all of our latest updates from all of our product managers, and at the end, sort of my purpose in the conversation was, where are you trying to go? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
And we so I literally went up to the whiteboard and I drew a vertical line and I said, end. And I said, okay, describe what this end state looks like for me. And once they describe that, then we can sort of architect backwards the steps that it's going to take them to get there based on where they are. We have all kinds of evaluation tools to help, kind of determine where they're at.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys do as well.
Yeah. So, we do a lot using what Cloud Insights, the tool that you provide, because it's able to go out there and look at multiple storage sources and really build out the solutions and gather data performance across multiple arrays and sort of tie that back to an application, tie it back to a volume, or depending on how granular what you want to get. Other customers, it's a relatively simplistic environment, but it's still a matter of, hey, can I pull up their data? And it's painful, but it pays off. Let me go line by line on this volume. What does this volume do? Oh, it does this? Cool. This would be a perfect fit for this. And then this one over there. So honestly, it varies depending on the complexity of the customer's environment. But we can, whether it's small or large, we're able to sort of tackle that.
I guess I'm just curious where you stand personally as an engineer. Like, do you enjoy working in storage as a service type environments where they're kind of handed off in a way? Or I'm old school. I'm an infrastructure dinosaur, man. Like I want to touch metal. I want to cable things up and bring them to life in an ecosystem where they're all talking to each other. There's an art form to that. Yeah. Guys like you and me, like that's our bread and butter. I guess where I'm saying is, like, do you feel disappointed when you have to sort of just write down requirements instead of actually plugging cables in and turning servers on?
No. So there's a lot more to it, right? If I'm having a C-level discussion, it is very turnkey. But when you're working with the engineers, there's a lot more to storage as a service, right? Yeah. So as part of Keystone, NetApp comes in and does the initial install. After that, right, whether it's setting up advanced security, replicating workloads into the environment, integrating them into the cloud solutions, all that comes back to us as the partner. So there is still a lot that we do where it is, okay, you did the heavy lifting, you saved my back, I don't have to throw anything on the shelf.
Right. But
now I get all to do cool stuff where I integrate that solution into the customer's environment. We also do first call support for NetApp arrays, as well as full managed services. And managed services is an option, right? I have some customers where it's like, look, I only have 2 or 3 guys. They're getting pulled 6 ways to Sunday. They don't have the time to go out there and be like, hey, I got to manage this array.
Yeah.
But I have other customers who are like, dude, I want to be in the system every day. I am happy with that. So there's a fit for every customer depending on where they are from a resource and scale perspective.
Yeah. Is this something as simple as like remote hands, or is this more of like hands-on configuring the system? And
whatever you need, right? That's
okay.
I think that's so I'm ex-NetApp. Right now I am at ePlus, and I think being on the partner side allows me to really meet some of those customer challenges across the board, right? Yeah. I see small customers, big customers, customers who are like fantastic experts, and I see customers who are just scratching their head, right? And I'm able to come in and really build a solution no matter where they are in their journey.
Right. Well, Judson, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for a few minutes, geeking out about some storage as a service. And excited about any of the new Keystone announcements that are out there?
So Cloud Insights being integrated as part of that is going to be good. It's Digital Infrastructure Insights.
Digital Infrastructure Insights now.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. It is. It is a fantastic tool. I've been a big fan since I first heard about it, Insight, maybe 5 years ago. There's a lot of power to that solution, and being able to bring that to the customer as part of a STaaS contract and environment is going to be a great uplift to that product and service. So
fantastic.
Cool.
Justin, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks all. Have a good day.
All right.